Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're getting away from some of the 70s German sex comedy type stuff. We're going to watch something a little off kilter here. It's called The Cellar, a late 80s horror movie, a little obscure one. Let's check it out.
The Comanche War Council met on this land to decide the fate of many nations and the promise of annihilation to the white man.
Alright, it's not quite clear. That's a scorpion and a dog, but I believe our film starts in the past, maybe around the turn of the 20th century, 1900 or so. Some kid in an Arizona desert or somewhere found some sort of Indian relic and some scorpions.
To cast aside, the white man brought his machines.
So I'm not sure what happened here, but
the tunnel of Gagwai awakened.
That's happened.
The white.
Alright, this is Mance and Emily Cashin. They're moving to this house in the middle of the desert.
I had some offers. Look out there. Look! Isn't it beautiful?
And Mance sees this guy doing something.
Who the hell is that?
What's he doing out there?
Well, he sort of babysits the place, you know. He's a medicine man. He's watering a damn tractor.
So they go inside the house and they move this big bureau thing, or whatever it is, and they find the door. That leads to the basement, which apparently they didn't know about.
What is that, a closet?
This young man is Willie, Mance's son from a different relationship. He's come to stay with him for a while.
Good to see you too, Dad.
How you doing?
Okay. Are you a cowboy?
You think you should unpack it?
And they have a baby, too.
I just wanted to see this stuff.
Hi, Willie. Hi. You gonna hold April?
Sure.
There you go. Put this hand in between. There you go.
Over there under the floor.
Something happened
It
tonight.
was just there. It pushed up the floorboard.
It's okay, Willie. We're here. What was it, sweetheart?
It looked like a snake.
But be careful, Mance.
Willie found a horny
Hey,
toad
don't go under there.
he's been playing with as a pet. And then this happens. Uh-oh. Something done took that horny toad. Later on, he's playing above the sinkhole outside. And then this happens. Of course, no one's going to believe him.
It's here. It's in the sinkhole.
What?
The monster, the one from my bedroom. It attacked me.
That monster make you wet your pants, Willie boy? Willie, get inside.
But Dad!
He gets told a story about what happened in the past. Which featured this guy. Here's that medicine man guy.
Buried.
What buried?
Evil one. Feeds on the souls of newborns.
The adults are safe, right?
No. It'll kill anything.
No.
Maybe your imagination's working overtime.
I'm not, Dad. Look, I'll show you.
No! No monsters. They don't exist.
Willie wanders out one night.
Hey,
Why didn't you leave this at my house?
why did you bring it back?
My dad says I should stay away from you.
Why did you come?
You're trying to scare me, aren't you? You were in the sinkhole. You were in my house and you were in my cellar.
Anyway, dude gives Willie a spear. Some special spear. Some ancient Comanche spear.
Do you really believe this?
So Willie sets a bunch of bear traps in his basement. And by God, he catches one right away. like the monster from Ghostbusters. And this dude outside later that night. So how did the creature get out of the trap?
Really?
You know how a cross keeps Dracula away.
Like wolfsbane or garlic?
Yeah, it's like that. If you wear it all the time, it'll keep the creature. It'll keep evil away.
And this poor guy gets attacked by birds on a lonely country road. But you know that country road is going to have a cliff, right? Now we find out how that thing got out of the basement.
Wow, he chewed off his own paw.
Now we're going to get a more extended look at the monster. And here's an overreaction. Or just close the window. Now here's Willie playing with his friend Tommy over by the sinkhole, which you gotta question Willie's judgment here, why they were near there, because he knows there's something in there.
Tommy, it's coming! Hurry! Get out! Get out! Tommy!
This is the last that we're gonna see of poor Tommy. Actually, I think it's the first we saw of poor Tommy also. Of course, nobody believes him still.
I need to know what happened out there, Willie.
I already told you.
Now, I can't tell the sheriff a monster ate Tommy. I need to know the truth.
That is the truth.
Tommy's dad is the local sheriff, and he's convinced that Willie knows something, so he's searching on his own. Now later that night, the creature is stalking. Willie's convinced it's coming after him and his baby sister, so he's grabbed himself a butter knife. Finally, Mom and Dad believe. They get into the basement. There's some standing water, so unfortunately this doesn't permanently kill the creature either. Now they think Dad got killed by that thing, but he actually escaped through the tunnel down there. And Emily and Willie are working to close that door. Daddy got rescued, and it's time to run. Earlier on, Willie had stolen some dynamite from the sheriff's Jeep, and he uses it here. That did it.
Great warrior, brought by the wind, the curse of Kegwai, lost in the wind. The land returned to freedom.
All right, another view from the living room tonight with Animal behind me. So The Cellar. Now, this is a movie that I taped off of Cinemax, I think, back in the spring of 1992. It was when I first started taping movies on SP Speed on VHS tape, one movie per tape, so for the best quality. And I knew at the time this one seemed just an obscure thing, so I decided to tape it. It's even more obscure today because it's never been released on DVD, only VHS. I do have a pre-recorded VHS of it also now, and that's where I got this box art from, which actually looks kind of cool. Actually, homemade box art, homemade DVD. So anyway, the movie itself this family moves into this new couple. Well, they have a baby now, and they also bring in his son from a previous relationship, and they're moving into this house in Arizona or New Mexico somewhere, Arizona maybe, I don't know. And there is this ancient Comanche Indian curse on this house, and there's some sort of weird monster in the basement. The best way to describe this monster is, I saw this on IMDb actually, someone described it as those dog-like creatures at the end of Ghostbusters that were on top of the building there. That's what this creature looks like. It's living in the basement, and the only person who sees this creature from time to time is this kid, Willie, who is like 10, 11 years old or so. Nobody believes him, of course. At one point, this monster can move from the house to this sinkhole that's outside where an old oil well used to be. And at one point, his friend Tommy's over. As Tommy falls into the sinkhole, the creature grabs him, pulls him under, and Tommy's gone. Of course, when Willie explains this to his dad and the police, nobody believes him. They drain the sinkhole. They don't find anything. So then they think they're convinced the boy ran away and that Willie's lying for him. Ultimately, though, at the end of this movie, the creature kind of shows itself to everybody in the house. Finally, Dad sees it and starts shooting at it. That doesn't kill it. They kind of get it into the basement. At one point, they think Dad is killed, so they run away. Does the wife and Willie. But it was actually the sheriff who was down there dead. Dad found like a way to sneak out through a tunnel down there. They stab the creature a few more times later on. That doesn't do it. They electrocute the creature. That doesn't kill it. Ultimately, they have some dynamite or some explosives that the kid stole from the sheriff when he went to investigate the missing of Tommy. The sheriff had a bunch of explosives in the back of his Jeep, so Willie took some. They used that. They kind of rigged the house, and then they bolt out of the house just in time. The house blows up, and presumably the creature blows up too. At the end of this movie, there's this scene which I showed you, like this aerial scene of going over the hills and mountains and stuff, and the clouds, and they're talking about a new warrior or something like that. I think they're referring to Willie. I don't know. So the Comanche Indian curse has been lifted. Who knows what the hell. But that's it. So there's no nudity in this movie. I don't know if there was any gore, maybe just a little bit of gore. There was a few deaths, obviously. Just a weird, obscure movie. I don't recognize any of the cast in this movie. Just kind of an odd little relic from the VHS era. Of course, I guess for me, the early 90s cable era also. The Cellar. Anybody ever heard of this movie besides me? Even amongst the collecting community, horror fans and stuff, I don't think I've heard anybody ever mention The Cellar. So I guess in that regard, I'm glad to have it. So anyway, I'll leave a link to Amazon down below, assuming Amazon is carrying this movie. If not, you can get this on eBay. It's pretty cheap. There's a couple different versions out there. The VHS tape looks slightly different. This is the one I got that looks like that. But it's pretty cheap, like $10 or so. So you can't go wrong there. It's not a bad film for what it is, but it's okay. So anyway, check it out. It's called The Cellar. Curious if anybody's seen it. Leave some comments and watch it. Bye.